Hi, this is Matt Yetter with Sherlock Home Inspections. Phone number is 971-212-7481. Website address is yourinspectionneeds.com. Today's date is Monday, May 29th, 2023. The address we're inspecting today is 14815 Southwest Carolwood Drive, Beaverton, Oregon, 97007. We are about to perform a video inspection of the property's main sewer line through the front yard exterior clean out. The equipment being used today is the Rigid Sea Snake. This is one of the best sewer cameras in the market today. Before we begin this video inspection, to be noted, some H sewer pipes made of clay, concrete, cast iron, asbestos, and orangeburg may be in good working order and may never have had a clogged or sewer backup before. However, due to real estate transactions, attorneys, and lawsuits, Sherlock Home Inspection must recommend the following to meet the current codes. All sewer pipes should be watertight, made to cast iron, ABS, 3034, or HDPE pipe with all appropriate fittings and couplers. All sewer pipes should be free from breaks, offsets, separations, tree roots, bellies, and party sewers. Sherlock Home Inspections recommends replacing any sewer pipe that does not meet these specifications. Here we go. We are in 4-inch ABS drain piping. The location of the cleanout is under the living room window. We are running some water to ensure that our pipe is watertight and is going to remain watertight throughout this inspection. It looks like just after a few feet we're going to transition. So this signifies a few things. This signifies transitioning pipe size, so we're going from 4-inch pipe into 5-inch pipe or 6-inch pipe. It signifies transitioning pipe materials. We're going from ABS plastic into cast iron. And then lastly, we're transitioning into a branch off the city lateral piping. And even though we enter into city lateral piping, technically all of this will be buyer owner responsibility throughout the entire length, start to finish. Now, because we do have cast iron piping in the home and still in use, or not in the home, but still in use in the sewer piping, right off the bat, right from the get-go, we would call this deferred cost. We have an old metal piping, 45 plus years old, in the northwest soil all day long, every day. Probably going to need some attention in the future, and I'll keep my fingers crossed it just keeps on going and going, but probably will need modernizing at some point down the road. So we'd recommend having a sewer scope performed every 2 to 3 years, keeping an eye on this piping, and then of course replace as needed. So even if it passes inspection today and looks to be in working condition, just because of the material alone and the age, we'd recommend keeping an eye on things. And so far it is just pretty much straight as an arrow, kind of a no-nonsense sewer pipe, just straight at the street in front of the house. It makes me think that this was cast iron originally and someone cut in a clean out at some point in the life of the house. About 30 feet we're going to start diving. You can see some of the wear in the joints. So where the two sections of pipe come together, that's typically where you see the aging and the wear first. So these joints just seem to wear. There's another one there. Some baby wipes being used, or flushable wipes. Really not a good idea in a cast iron line. I don't think it's a good idea in any line, but especially cast iron, because they just stick. We've got a belly at 37 feet. So this is right before the sidewalk here. And then we pop out of it pretty quick like. But as we transition, so we're going to transition into 3034 piping, and as we transition, we're going to hang a left-hand turn, and there's a tendency for the pipe to go kind of flat. So, and I can see where it's been replaced. I see where the green piping. So we're going to transition into green piping. You can tell where it's been replaced. So we know pretty much where this is occurring. But we go underwater at 37 feet, and we pop out of it at 38 feet. So really not too bad. And we'll run a test on it, and we stay kind of marginal through that area, and then we transition to 3034, and you can see the replaced section of sidewalk out there where this has occurred, so this was not the original piping in the neighborhood. So the city of Beaverton has probably modernized this, so they had to cut into that sidewalk. And then we're going to transition again as we head out into the road. So once we reach the lateral, we'll turn off the water, drain everything out of the line, and then we're curious to see how that area reacts with the water turned off. If everything drains right on out of there, then you're feeling better about things. But really, in the overall scheme of things, it is an old line, but it's pretty small as far as the length. Usually anything over 6 or 7 feet becomes more concerning. Now this is a large concrete pipe here. You can see the pitch isn't great, but things are moving through here. The lateral. So we're going to turn off all the water, drain everything out, and then look at the pipe one more time in reverse. So 74 feet is the end, officially a buyer-owner responsibility. This is the large lateral pipe running through the middle of the road out there. This is the pipe that the homes in the neighborhood, or at least the homes on the street, are tying into. And again, this is the end, officially a buyer-owner responsibility, 74 feet away from the house. So we're going to turn off the microphone and the water, drain everything out, and then look at the pipe one more time in reverse. Okay, so we have turned off the water, we've drained everything out. There'll still be some residual stuff coming through or making its way through the line, but for most part of this will let us gauge kind of how that area is reacting as the residual stuff continues to drain through. And again, so we go ABS, cast iron, 30-34, concrete piping is kind of how things transition.
No, they're out of state, I think. When do the owners come back?
They're out of state today. I think they come back tomorrow.
They come back tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. Your parents are tired. Okay.
And now the water's out, you can see things a little bit better from there.
So here's that replaced section of 30-34 piping, the plastic piping. Oh, it's a small section. And then we take a right into the cast iron, and this was the area in question. So you can see the camera head still is submerged. It is a really small section though. So at 38 feet, which is exactly where we thought it was occurring. Let's see.
You think when the city...
So the camera head goes underwater at 36 feet. 36 point, well, we'll call it 36 even. Camera head goes underwater, and we pop out of it at 37. So It's around 12 inches. I would say between 8 and 12 inches. So as precaution, I would recommend taking the video and the report, passing it on to a drain repair specialist to get an opinion about this, to determine if any repairs should be required or are required now or recommended for repair now. It doesn't really appear to be causing any issues. My hunch is it's been like this for a number of years. There's not a big thick sludgy buildup or anything like that. But again, as precaution, taking the video and the report onto a drain repair specialist to make suggestions to see if anything is deemed necessary right now, or if it's more of a case of just keeping an eye on things. And again, nothing seems to be, nothing in the belly seems to be impacting the drainage to the house or anything at this point. So if you take a snapshot of the property currently today, it doesn't really appear to be causing any issues, but maybe something that needs some attention. If the drain repair specialist deems that it's just an area to keep an eye on, again, we'd recommend having a sewer scope performed every couple of years, and then repair and or replace as needed. And here is the cast iron through the front yard. Older piping.
You're not recording anymore, right?
I am.
No audio.
Mm-hmm. And then there's our transition to ABS. So again, I think that's the recommendation. Really, it doesn't appear to be causing any blockage backup or any issues with the house right now currently. But as a precaution, strictly, we'd recommend taking the video and the report onto and passing it on to a drain repair specialist to see if there's any repairs deemed necessary currently.